Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Crafting and Crime Daily. I'm your host, Rebecca, and I recap live trials, broken crayons, still color. So today we're going to talk about a case that will not be going to trial. And you're going to hear why I think this is a good thing. Stay tuned. Hi, everybody. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I am so glad to have you. Consider subscribing if you are if you're on the fence. And you can also become a member or a Patreon of the channel. The links for that are down in the description. So today we're going to talk about Chad Doerman. And if that does not ring bells to you, the next few things I'm going to tell you will. This happened June 15th of 2023 in Claremont County, Ohio. And it was just chilling. This has to do with children. So if that really bothers you, if that's a trigger for you, then you might not want to watch this whole thing. But in any case, he appeared in court yesterday for a plea deal. Yes, plea deal. What happened on June 15th? He murdered his family. He murdered his 3 young children, terrorized his stepdaughter and his wife, who was desperately trying to save the lives of those children as he's gunning them down. Now, I did a story on this, and if I can find it, I'll put a link up here to it. But there's not a lot to it. The police, when they got to the scene, there was nothing they could do about it. The children were deceased. There was no saving their lives. It was really, really a sad case. But Chad Doerman had pled initially. He was charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder, 1 for each child, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase, ages 7, 4, and 3. Yes. And he was also charged with 2 counts of second-degree felonious assault for the psychological injuries to his stepdaughter, Alexis, and the physical and psychological injuries to his wife, Laura. I mean, what she is going through, my God, I can't even fathom the nightmare this has been for her. And the reason I said I think this is a good thing that he took a plea and there's not going to be a trial, they will not have to testify. They will not have to relive these events day in and day out through a trial and then having to testify and stand. No, just let them go to therapy and work it out, because they're going to need a lot of therapy. So the whole thing was probably over an hour, but the judge starts out by kind of just talking to Chad. I understand this is what you want to do, and just kind of making sure that he's fully cognizant. Oh, I didn't finish telling you. He initially pled not guilty by reason of insanity. Okay. So the judge is just talking to him, just what you want to do. You have the right to do this and that. And this goes on for a while because, and you're looking at, this is what you're looking at as a sentence. And is this okay with you? Do you have any questions of your lawyer? He's trying to figure out if Chad is knowingly and voluntarily entering this plea. And he comes to the conclusion that yes, this is something that he wants to do. So the first thing he has Chad do is enter the plea. How are you pleading to these 5 charges? And I will play that for you, immediately followed by the prosecutor reading the statement of facts. So have a listen to actually what went down that day.
Yes.
Please, court. On or about June 15th, 2023, 1965 Laurel Lindale Road, Claremont County, Ohio. The defendant did purposely and with prior calculation and design cause the death of his 3 children, Clayton Doerman, age 7, Hunter Doerman, age 4, and Chase Doerman, age 3. On that date, Judge, June 15, 2023, the defendant returned home early from work and had his family, including his wife, Laura Doerman, with him. All three of the boys joined him in the master bedroom for a nap. At some point after lying down with the four of them, the defendant got out of bed, opened a gun safe that was next to the bed, removed a Marlin Model HC-22 rifle from the gun safe and loaded the magazine. The defendant shot his son, Hunter Doerman, twice. While in the bedroom, his wife, Laura, began to render aid to Hunter and yelled for the other children to run. Laura's 14-year-old daughter, Alexis, who had been watching television in the family room, made her way to the master bedroom and witnessed the killing of Hunter. Alexis immediately began to run and indicated that Chasen had fled out the back door. Clayton had fled out the back door, and that Chad Doerman was following Clayton. She ran to help to try to protect Clayton. Anyway, the three of them go out the back door. Clayton's first, then there's the defendant, and then Alexis. Alexis witnesses the defendant chase after Clayton, raised his rifle, fired numerous shots at Clayton as he fled, and saw Clayton fall in the field after he was struck by the gunfire. Alexis then watched as the defendant approached Clayton while he's injured, lying on the ground, defenseless, and saw the defendant put a bullet in Clayton's head, killing him. The defendant, Alexis then, Your Honor, ran back and fled into the residence where she picked up the youngest child, the little 3-year-old boy, Chase Doerman. She attempted to flee the residence with Chase to protect him, but the defendant saw her crossing the yard. The defendant gave chase, pointed the rifle directly at Alexis' head, and threatened to shoot Alexis if she did not drop Chase. Alexis put Chase down. He's crying the whole time. The defendant then pointed the firearm at Chase's head, but it just clicked. The magazine was empty. Alexis begged for the defendant not to shoot her. Chase then saw his mother, who had come outside at some point, trying to render aid to Hunter. So Chase runs to his mom. And then there's a very difficult situation that evolved where Laura and the defendant struggled over the weapon. Laura was bitten as she tried to protect Chase from the defendant. The defendant bit her. She put her thumb over the end of the barrel in an effort to stop the bullet. She was shot in the thumb. Ultimately, she had to drop Chase. During this point in time, the defendant was able to reload the firearm and pointed the gun at Chase's head and executed him, one round to his skull. Alexis, Your Honor, suffered serious physical harm as a result, or psychological harm as a result of being held at gunpoint, forced to surrender Chase to the defendant for his execution, and witnessing her stepfather execute her brothers. Laura suffered serious physical harm, obviously, as she was shot through the thumb. Police arrived. There was really nothing that, despite her desperate fighting to save the lives of her boys, there's nothing Laura Doerman could have done. Surrendered without incident. acknowledged immediately he did it, take me to jail. He later gave statements, Your Honor, that he had been thinking about killing his boys since October, that these thoughts of having to kill his sons were weighing so heavily on him that he hadn't slept in a few days. And those are the facts, Your Honor. Those are the facts that led to the death of Clayton Doerman, Hunter Doerman, and Chase Doerman, and the permanent, irreversible injuries to the psyche of Alexis and also Laura. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chilling, isn't it? Just it gives me goosebumps, and not good goosebumps, like when you hear a gorgeous song and you get goosies, not those kind of goosebumps. This is like, there but for the grace of God go I. Because you know what? He had a mental problem. Clearly, he had a mental problem. There were 3 psychological reports that say so. And he just wasn't addressing his mental health, which is very, very unfortunate. And something that goes on in this country all the time. People are not addressing their mental health. People need to be aware that mental health is important. You can't not address it. Oh my gosh. So at this point, the judge paused the hearing to bring in Alexis, his stepdaughter. I don't know how old she is at this point. And his wife, Laura. And then he told the cameras off. You're not recording this. You're not. Well, I think some of it was recording. The channel that I watched chose not to even broadcast the recording, but I did find a little snippet of what each one of them said through the state attorney. They had written out statements. They were there physically, but they chose not to say anything, and they didn't appear on camera. So what you're hearing is the state attorney reading portions of those statements from those 2 women.
Chad, I trusted you with my life. And honestly, I looked up to you more than anyone. I saw you as my dad, not just a stepdad, because it hurts to know I will never get to experience another day with my 3 brothers, or to make any memories anymore, because their innocent lives were taken away so quickly and horribly by their own father.
Laura's statement just as emotional, as she wrote about trying to save her sons from her husband, who hunted down the children.
I was injured that day, fighting with every ounce of my body to just make it stop. I struggle every day, knowing I was not successful in doing so. And now I have to live with this and wonder what more I could have done to save them. I would do anything to push them on the swing, cover them up one more time, and hear their little ways of saying, I love you.
So when that was concluded, the judge hands down his sentence. He was sentenced to, for the 2 felonious assaults, the assault on Alexis and the assault on Laura, 8 years each. So a total of 16 years to run concurrent with, or was it consecutive? Okay, they're going to run consecutive with each other, 8 and then 8, 16 years. But concurrent, or they get subsumed by the 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole that he is getting. And the judge explained the reason we do this is to ensure that you're never going to get out of prison. And he was okay with this, and very emotional during the hearing. I think he's been emotional since day one. It hit him what he had done. I don't know where his head was at when he did it, but when he came back into his own mind, he was devastated by what he had done. And you can see that in a lot of his appearances that he's made. I'm not excusing his behavior because of mental health. I mean, what he did was abhorrent. But I hope that in prison, he gets the help that he needs. He will never have access to a weapon again. You know how I feel about weapons. Why would you have this weapon in your house to begin with? He actually went into the gun safe and got this weapon out. You're not in the military. You don't need an assault rifle. You don't need a rifle at all. So, anyway. So that's how this case ended. So there will not be a trial for me to cover because I don't even know if I would have covered it because, honest to God, the facts of this thing were devastating. I remember watching the cops pull up, and the cops were devastated. That the whole thing was just one huge nightmare for this family, for this community. So it's over, and yeah. So I'm going to be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. with my friend Mickey Sunshine Creates for our second live during our event, The Great Escape 2024. This is our third year. It's a diamond painting event, not coloring. It's diamond painting. And everybody is painting a place they would like to go that has an animal in it. Mine has otters. Yeah. It's a little lake that has otters in it. I don't know if I'd be swimming with the otters, but I'd be looking at the otters. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the Olympics, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care. Bye.
And you're obviously then satisfied with them as your attorneys.
Yes, sir.
Then, as to count one, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Count two, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Count three, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Count 18, felonious assault in violation of 290311A2. How do you plead?
Guilty.
And count 20, felonious assault in violation of 290311A2. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Are you entering each of these pleas of your own free will?
Yes.
No one's forced you to enter these pleas at all, correct?
No.
All right. And on behalf of the state, the statement of facts.
Judge, may I